Welcome to the Garage, ladies and gentlemen, the court of public opinion. For the next little while, my usual rant on a Tuesday and a Thursday. And I remind you that we'll be around the dining room table tomorrow if you'd like to give us a ring. 0491 65 68 60. The court of public opinion. I must remember, because I've got the gavel, you know, the judge's gavel. Not that I'm the judge in the court of public opinion, you are. But this guy made this, handmade a gavel for me way back when I was doing the show at 5DN. And I think it would look good on the dining room table. It looks good in the garage. Well, but I'll take it down there. A lot has happened. Hard to know where to start. Let's start with red tape. Red tape. Red tape is a huge problem everywhere. Red tape and regulations. But nowhere more so than the National Construction Code. You probably have never heard of it. The National Construction Code. Well, it's hamstringing this nation. This is red tape on steroids. And it keeps growing every few years. Every few years, a few more pages. Yeah. Somebody's working on that. Sounds like full time. It is now 2,000 pages long. All of which slow construction and make it more expensive. Why would a government do that? When they bang on about housing and building houses more quickly. 1.2 million houses they want to build. And yet they have this ridiculous code that prevents that outcome. The government's way of handling this problem with the code is to delay the next review of the code, which I can guarantee you would add a few more pages. That is not fixing the problem. And they suggest that using AI could help tradies sort it out. You know, make sense of it. Really? Really? Why not just make it understandable in the first place? Are they really saying that it takes AI to make sense of this construction code? Who wrote this thing? Who's in charge of it? Who's responsible for this mess? I'll bet you the unions had quite a bit to do with it. But it's hard to imagine that this Labour government will do anything, because I remind you, I've said this before, I'll say it again, in the last 3 years, this Labour government has introduced 5,000 new rules and regulations. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, bundles of new red tape. I must tell you, I won't do it today, but there is a lovely bit of history, I'll have to get it straight, as to where the expression red tape came from. It's a lovely piece of American congressional history. Bit of fun. Now, I have no idea how many people are working from home. We're working from the garage, which is home to me. In Victoria, they say that it is a human right to be able to work from home. Wow. But a word of advice. If you do work from home, and you claim a portion of your rent, your electricity, your gas, other expenses, insurance maybe, you know, you work out how many square meters your office or workplace is. Say it's 10% or 20% of the house. You start to sort of claim that. I'm told it's quite common and legal. Just remember that it could cause land and capital gains tax issues further down the track. Check it out. The state government sent Chris Picton out to defend its position against the Liberals on Saturday. They're getting somehow pretty edgy or noisy or irritable, and I can't help but think it's Frank Pangello that is worrying them. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. More to come. But this particular gentleman, the health minister, totally failed health minister Chris Picton, committed to ending ramping, only in office to make it worse. Where are the astute journalists to point this out? Frank Pangello, where are you now that we need you? He's gone over to the dark side. Well, let's hope he can make it a little lighter. Speaking of light, a glimmer of hope for the Liberals. While the federal leadership is stuck with a commitment to net zero, state branches, not quite so much. I'm told they want to dump it. The states are right. It just makes no sense. And the Nats agree. The National Party agrees. Anyway, the whole point is net zero is unachievable. For any government or opposition to think that Australia, with 1% of global emissions, needs to cut that 1% to zero, should not be running the country or attempting to run the country. Net zero is nuts. You don't see China or India or Europe throwing their people under the bus, do you? It's a bit like the NDIS. Nowhere else in the world are people so stupid. Whoa! Front page of the 9 newspapers this week. A survey reveals that 44% of Australians want the government's emissions reduction targets to increase. You know, be more stringent. Let's look at this more closely, more carefully. I'll tell you how it works. It's called arguing from a conclusion. First, what is the finding or result that you want from your survey? That then frames the question you ask. Everyone, absolutely everyone, is going to say less emissions, less pollution, a cleaner environment. Yes, of course, absolutely. It's motherhood. If you first explain what emission reductions actually means, what it will cost, the risks associated with renewables and alternatives, a dramatic lowering of the standard of living for you and your family, your children and their children, you'll get a completely different answer to your survey. Let's look more closely. Anthony Albanese is not supporting the worker with this legislation. We touched on it a few weeks ago. They are supporting their union masters. Individuals should decide, should be able to decide these sort of things. It's a very simple question that you'd ask your employees. Go with the union, who don't want a bar of this, or accept a 35% pay rise. I don't think I've ever had a 35% pay rise in my life. A 35% pay rise to just discard overtime. I never knew what overtime was. I thought my role when I worked for somebody was to do it 24/7. Anyway, discard overtime and penalty rates, meaning Why should I be paid more when I'm on holidays than when I'm on the job? That's nuts. But in any case, it should be the choice of the individual worker, not in Labour land. They will throw this legislation out, and they can, thanks to their numbers in Parliament. They will keep the worker in servitude, being told what to do, and they'll keep their union mates in power. Not my idea of Australia. But then again, we're all entitled to an opinion. I mentioned Frank Pangelo earlier. He's stirring them up. The Labour Party don't like him or don't quite know how to handle him, and the Liberals, I don't think, are very much better. But Frank Pangelo joined us around the dining room table on Friday. What he wanted to talk about, and he did quite eloquently, was this Live Golf fiasco. Festival, attraction, I don't know what you call it. That was his topic. He was telling us that if the North Adelaide golf course is redesigned to accommodate this event, and it will have to be, if they want the event, it'll have to be, what they've got to do is to cut down 5,400 trees. 5,400 trees? And there's no guarantee that these Live Golf people won't pack up their golf cart and move somewhere else next year. These would be the amazing Moreton Bay fig trees, you know, with the big buttress roots and all. No way in the world. Are you going to let them do that? I mean, if I lived around the area and had a say in it, I wouldn't. If I know anything about the gentle folk of North Adelaide, they will not have a bar of the Premier's grand vision. Don't get me wrong, I think he is a very slick politician. Very presentable, good-looking, articulate. You know, I imagine that unless the Libs can do something about themselves, he's going to stay there for a long, long time. But I must, Premier, if I could just give you one piece of advice. Do not take on the North Adelaide Society. And yes, there is a North Adelaide Society. It's actually called that. And they have meetings and everything. Do you remember the Lacornu site? The redevelopment took 30 years before a design was acceptable to the North Adelaide Society. Several people, big companies, went bankrupt in the process. It's pretty sad. We're here with the best wishes of the Rising Sun at 60 Bridge Street at Kensington. Their telephone number is 8333 0721. Wonderful menu, fantastic wine list, but above everything else, it just has a wonderfully warm, historic, welcoming atmosphere. Open fires, and the staff are wonderful too. Grant and Jackie will take very good care of you. The Rising Sun, regularly chosen as the best pub or inn in South Australia, built way back in 1845, a lot of history. And Jim Elder's Fine Art Gallery, this coming weekend, he has the second big auction for the year. It's online, but if you go in to North Adelaide, 106 and 110, these two beautiful buildings in Melbourne Street, North Adelaide, you'll see all the paintings that are coming up. I like to go and see them, look at them, because I know online you get the pictures and all of that, but you don't get to see how big they are or how impressive they are. You really need to go into the two galleries and have a look at them, and then on the Sunday put your name down, log in or whatever you do, and you can bid Jim Elder and his lovely wife Helen, 8267-2869. And they'll be open there on, Friday, Saturday, and of course Sunday is the day of the auction. And he's always very interested in getting paintings to put up for his next auction. Now, Friday, tomorrow morning, 0491 65 68 60, jeremycordeau.com. And you can get us on Simple Radio as well, which is handy because that is what do they call those things? An app. An app. You can have me in the palm of your hand. I don't think we've got any time, have we? Not really.
Oh, one more quick one.
I did want to try and mention this if I could.
Yes, one more quick one.
Aboriginal culture, I'm told this week, is under threat, if not attack. Whoa. This is the story. It seems that AI is stealing their art. Stolen by AI. Stolen art. Well, I wouldn't put anything past AI, quite frankly. It has the capacity to change the world, and I'm sure it will. But why would they want to? The dot paintings that they're talking about in this scandal or story, the dot paintings were the invention of a white man. Nothing to do with Aboriginal culture. I really wouldn't worry if I were you. There's a great story which we'll get onto tomorrow, which is the head of the Private Hospitals Association saying publicly during the week that we are being ripped off by private health insurance companies. Wow. I kind of knew that, but it's nice to have somebody in a position of power who actually comes out publicly and says it. Happy birthday if you're having a birthday. Happy wedding anniversary, August 28. 1830 was the year. Horse in race against a train. I can see the headline. It's a bit like headless woman in topless bar, which was a famous Murdoch headline, I believe. But a horse races against a train. First American-built locomotive, the Tom Thumb, races a horse-drawn car from Stockton and Stokes Stagecoach Company from Baltimore to Elcott Mills. Let history record that due to mechanical problems, the horse won. I should think so. 1830. That's what people said about the American car business. We don't want a car, we just want faster horses. Perfectly reasonable. Shania Twain, lovely Shania Twain. She sent me an autographed photograph of herself, which I have at the other place. Shania Twain, beautiful lady, becomes an independent company. Well, I can understand that. She was making a fortune, still the one. That don't impress me much. Man, I feel like a woman was another one of her hits. Born in 1965. Wow. Toyota Motors becomes a company. That was, way back in 1937. Toyota Motors. Aretha Franklin lies in state at the Charles H. White Museum of African American History in Detroit in a 24-carat gold coffin. 2018. General Bernard Montgomery, Monty, becomes commander of the 3rd Iron Infantry Division in 1939. Caleb Brabham renames his carbonated soft drink Pepsi-Cola. Why not? And, one more. Bob Dylan is booed for playing an electric guitar in concert at Forest Hills Tennis Stadium in Queens, New York City on this day in 1965. He was supposed to be acoustic to his boot heels. Thank you so much for being with us, and I look forward to your company tomorrow morning around the dining room table, jeremycordeau.com. The Court of Public Opinion will return as a Facebook posting next Tuesday at 9 o'clock and next Thursday at 9 o'clock. Believe in yourself, and goodbye for now.